Now, thank you for joining us, Alan Grice. This is for the Sports Sedan final. You've driven devices like this. In fact, your Chevy Monza isn't that far removed, only maybe a bit more powerful. Difficult cars to drive, this sort of machine?
A little bit difficult, particularly when the day is so cold. It takes a little while to get the tyres cold because, you know, the suspensions should be pretty good, and it takes a while to get some heat into the tyres and get the things to turn in.
It seemed that in the early laps you had just that problem. You seemed to be working much harder at the wheel at the beginning than towards the end. Yes,
it's the suspension on the Monza works very well, and takes a while to get the heat into them.
We only have 5 seconds to go. Robin Tirana, Bob Jolly on the front row. The green light comes on. This is the Sports Sedan final at Calder Park. And side by side, the 2 front row men, Robin Doherty in a Tirana, Bob Jolly in a Commodore, go into the first corner, and that's the way they go into the corner. And a good start from Tino Leo, who started 2 rows back in the big Monaro. It's Doherty who goes to the lead in the Tirana. He was quicker in practice yesterday by 0.6 of a second than Jolly. And look at Leo coming up on the inside. He's going to squeeze the Commodore out. He goes into second spot, right behind Doherty. It was Leo who donated his car earlier in the day to the Mercedes driver, Brian
Thompson.
Brian
Yes,
Thompson.
I was just wondering whether perhaps Brian may still be in the car, but
he's driving like Brian Thompson.
Well, Tino sometimes fires himself up, and to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure whether that's a characteristic position for him or not, but he's certainly going very, very well.
I did notice as I came back through the dummy grid, John, that there was Tino in the car.
Tino?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, so he's driving like a demon.
I wasn't aware that Brian Thompson drove in the race, actually.
Yes, what happened was, you wouldn't have seen, you were on the pole position, but what happened was the turbo blew up in his Mercedes, and he had a previous arrangement to take over Tino's car. That happened. Going a little wide there, much wider than he would have meant to do, is Ian Jones in XU1. Still, it's Robin Doherty in the Tirana, leading Tino Leo in the Monaro. 10 laps is the distance. They've covered 1.5. Car number 2, Mick Monterosso in the Escort, has gone wide there in a rather perilous state in the race. He comes back, forces other traffic to slow down. Oh, here we have Alderman Gill.
We'll have to get, yes, we'll have to get Stephen up there to get some comments from him.
Bob Gill in the Mustang.
Yes, so I think, Stephen, you should stick your microphone in Gilly's face and have him make some pithy comments for us. I'm sure you'll get some controversial remarks from him. Don't worry if he wants to go out, just stop him.
How much water's in it? How much water's in it?
Nothing in the top
There'll be enough. There'll be enough.
I think we could agree, John Sheppard, that he's a very enthusiastic competitor.
Yes, I think if, as he's saying, there's enough water in it, I'm off.
Well, the mechanics say there's none there, and he said there's enough.
Yeah, none's enough, that's right. Yeah. Obviously in big trouble because it's spilt water all over the windscreen because he's got his wipers going, but that doesn't worry Gilly. He's going to get out there and have a finish if he can.
Back at the front of the race, there's a real 3-corner battle going on here, isn't there, Alan Grice, with Robin Doherty in the Tirana, just in front of Tino Leo in the Monaro, and Bob Jolly has brought the Commodore back again. This is a real threesome.
And another overtaking manoeuvre there, and he's done it, but Leno's trying to go inside. Actually, I noticed in the braking area that Tino hasn't got any brake lights, so perhaps that's a little fox.
Really? But the message, by the way, we get from Stephen Phillips is that the radiator cap is off the Mustang of Bob Gill, which is why he's losing water. Well, Tino Leo dragging the tail. You say there are no brake lights showing on the back of his car.
No, that's right. They don't seem to be working at all, and maybe it's just an oversight or a malfunction, or maybe he's just making it a little difficult in the braking areas for the other guys. It's been done before.
I couldn't imagine anyone doing a thing like that, Alan.
Well, I know at Sheppard Bathurst in a 2-car team who had a switch for the brake lights on and off.
Well, a change of leadership, I think, as Jolly goes through on the inside, but Doherty's hanging on the outside, and he persists. That's a brave line out there. We saw Peter Fitzgerald keeping abreast of Colin Bond in the last race. It's not the place to go, is there, Alan Grice, as we watch Bob Gill bring the Mustang back in again. Maybe this time he'll get the radiator cap on. But that outside line through the test bench is a very difficult line to follow.
Yes, indeed. At their side-by-side again, this will be good at the braking area. Still, I prefer to have the inside line.
Why do so many go wide on the outside for this bend?
Well, I don't know. It's some people believe that the correct line for that corner is right out wide, but I think it's such a wide entry that it really doesn't matter all that much. These guys are sort of a lot of feinting and shadow boxing going on. I hope they leave it at that.
Yes, well, Robin Doherty is making that Tirana the widest Tirana in the business, isn't he?
Yes,
not unfairly. He's just putting it in the place where it makes it most difficult to overtake.
Yes, certainly.
Once again, by the way, Bob Gill is in the pits. Let's see if Stevens can get some words from him now.
Well, not enough to get around?
Not enough, mate. She's well off the gauge. I've had a ripper weekend. Yesterday we ran out of fuel because there was none here, unfortunately. And today we put in 8 gallons, and it just was 2 gallons too short in the last championship race. Today the boys checked the water, and
well, they just said not enough.
Just not enough.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, there we are. I was quite sure we'd get some sort of happy-go-lucky comments from Bob.
He certainly. Oh, there's a spin there. There was a touch there, surely, Allan Grice.
Yeah, well, it didn't really. We didn't see it. I think maybe slow motion will turn it up. But
yeah. Now, has he done damage there? It was a very gentle kiss into the fence, but it's enough, I think, to put Bob Jolly well and truly out of the race. But it seemed that he went wide through someone else's attention.
Yes, the looks like the 2 left-hand wheels got a bit of an angle on them, but they were very drastic stuff. They were side by side down the straight, and side by side through the corner at the end of the straight, and came out.
Oh no,
he just lost it all by himself, by the way.
Just braking.
I didn't think there was a touch.
So he just left his braking to such a desperately late moment that when he did apply the brakes,
yes,
away it went.
Sometimes a guy will get himself all steeled up for a desperate late braking manoeuvre, and by doing that he'll become all tense and virtually pull the car off the road.
Now it's up to Tino Leo in the Monaro, who's in a very close second spot. Monterosso and the Escort coming into the pits. It's a busy place down there, Stephen Phillips. Stephen's probably up the far end, trying desperately to get warm. I would think he could do with a turbocharger himself. What's the story there, Stephen?
I'll ask Mick himself. What's the problem?
I missed the gear and I've over-revved it. So I just turned it off.
You looked anything but happy.
Not happy.
I think the face tells the story, Evan.
It does indeed, Stephen. A nice, honest answer. He just over-revved it. Not happy. He's got an expensive job to do. 2 laps to go of the race in its last phases. And it's Leo who's now challenging Doherty. He's made up ground. He's going on the inside.
Quite serious about the whole thing. Whoops.
And in fact,
I think that took Doherty by surprise. And I think he might have thought it was all his little corner until Tino stuck his nose in like that.
I think the overtaken car probably complicated things for everyone too.
Yes, Bill Emeny in the extra one was there, and he was delighted to get the chance to pass one of the leaders. He's back now behind them and 1 lap behind. But it's Tino Leo about to get the last lap board. He's just about to pass John Watson's Jaguar down the straight.
He's done that well too. He was certainly sitting in third, and it was all happening in front of him, and I think he chose to let that go on for a while. And he's made his mind up and taken the chances as they came, and he's done it well.
It's been a good tactical race by Tino Leo. He's had brake problems. We've seen him smoking the brakes a lot. But now he's got a pretty substantial lead, and I don't think that Doherty can haul it back.
No, he's got it there. That was a very conservative line into the corner. He's looked strong under brakes, actually, all through the race, although he has had the odd lock-up at the front, but the motor car obviously does stop very well.
So Robin Doherty, who for so long dominated this race, looks like he's going to finish in second spot. The checkered flag is ready, and it'll be Tino Leo in the Monaro who gets it. Yes, he wins the Sports Sedan final. Doherty comes across the line in second spot, and in third place it will be car number 42, car 42, Charlie Milner in a Tirana, fairway back. But that's the way they finish. Monterosso will be third, Chambers, fourth rather, Chambers fifth, and Jolly will recover to take sixth place. Well, I think that Robin Doherty will be a bit disappointed with that. He would have thought that he was going to win, and he probably thought that the only man likely to challenge him was Bob Jolly. And when Jolly disappeared on that very late braking manoeuvre, lost traction for some reason, he might have thought he had the race in his keeping. But this man, Tino Leo, who surrendered his car.
Out the window there, Evan, having a bit of a wave in Doherty's car. I don't quite know what that's all about. See, it's still out.
Yeah.
No, it's on the slowdown lap. That's why. Very observant. I thought it was a replay. What a clever boy.
Yeah, no, the race is over, and they're waving their thanks to the marshals. And it looks, in fact, as though in Doherty's case, he's just having a rest. He seems a bit tired by the whole effort. It's been a good meeting, Allan Grice. Some good racing today.
Yes, I've seen quite a bit of it, and there has been some good racing. Certainly some incidents in the Mondial cars or the F1 cars. And
But let's just recount then a great win by Alfredo Costanzo in the third round of the Australian Formula One Championship, which takes him to the head of the point score. A very disappointing drive as far as you were concerned, Allan Grice, in the third round of the Australian GT Championship. You had it won, you had 1 lap to go, and you ran out of fuel pressure.
yes,
We'll just look at the placing to that last race. So a very disappointing day for you.
yes. They never won until you get that checkered flag. That's been said 100 times before, and it's certainly the case. But 1 lap to go, and we just lost fuel pressure, so that was the end of the story.
Welcome back to Amaroo Park in Sydney as our coverage of the Australian Touring Car Championship continues. That's still to come at the moment. The Comalco Wonderlic Sports Sedan Series Round 4. Don't forget the 10th round of the championship for touring cars will be held at Sydney's Oran Park Raceway next weekend. Seven's exclusive coverage, of course, continues right through, so make sure you join us as we see whether Jim Richards can put together wins in the 9th and 10th rounds. There's Mike Griffin lining up now for the Comalco Wonderlic Sports Sedan race. Peter Fitzgerald on the way up from Victoria in the Stanley Electronics Porsche. He's been very, very quick off the mark here. John Burke next to him, of course, in the Celica. It's not your average Celica. John's very quick around this course, and I guess the key to this for Kevin Bartlett is getting off the line. Peter McLeod, who ran so well at Lakeside a couple of weekends ago, in company with Garry Scott. There's KB. I think the engine's far enough back. That thing lights up coming off the line. It'll leave enough rubber for the rest of them to be able to skate up to the top of the hill. John Burke's machine there, 2GO backed Celica. Mike Griffin's Mazda RX-7, much modified RX-7 too. And of course Kevin Bartlett with pole position, 50.27. Real pity that Brian Thompson isn't here today. It'd be nice to have seen the scrap between them. There's Garry Scott from Brisbane in the Armstrong Nissan entry. And he'll be starting off position 7. Just look at the field. They're already round the corner and back down the next straight. Not far away, flag ready to come up. Watch the acceleration of Bartlett's Tommaso Pantera. And it gets plenty of bite coming off the track. Bartlett grabs another gear, and it is goodbye, boys, as the Stanley Electronics Porsche, driven by Fitzgerald, tries to catch sight of it. It goes over the top of Bitchapave and now drops down into Dunlop Loop for the first time. Fitzgerald is up into second, then followed by Burke. Griffin is the next one through, followed by McLeod, then Garry Scott, rounding off the 6 as they go through Dunlop and work down towards Mazda Corner.
Yeah, so Bartlett gets power to the ground pretty quickly. And it was John Burke who came out with a pretty snaky sort of a start when he grabbed second gear. He's in third. Fitzgerald second, as you mentioned. Griffin, McLeod. Bob Tyndall in there behind Garry Scott as well. So KB out to try and take this lap record. Conditions much drier than they were this morning. But the interest in the genuine sports sedan and GT car ranks, I guess, must be for second, third and fourth, with Fitzgerald heading Burke and Mike Griffin. John Burke in the turbocharged Toyota Celica behind the rear-engine Porsche. These two have been locked in battle throughout this series, which concludes today. Peter Fitzgerald the leader with a total of 21 points. John Burke sharing third place at the moment with Tyndall, a total of 8 points. Mark Trenoweth not competing, nor is Brian Thompson.
There's the rest of the field running away, and Bartlett opening that gap all the time. Peter McLeod is back behind Griffin, and then Tyndall followed by Garry Scott of Queensland.
Last time round it was a 51.44.
This is good.
Oh, yes, and John Burke gets through.
I see we've got a humpback down here that's spun around, little
John Vernon.
So, Peter Fitzgerald has been passed here. Let's drop him back into third spot. Next one is Griffin. So John Burke moves to second, Fitzgerald to third, Griffin to fourth.
I was about to say before that KB has done a 51.44, so he's down to within a little less than half a second of that lap record. And he's winding it up more and more all the time.
But he's not getting all that far away, though, from John Burke, is he?
No. Celica's a pretty nicely built little motor car. and John came out here on Wednesday. He also came down from Gosford on Friday. As Glenn Seaton goes whistling off into the boondocks again for the second time in 2 races.
He likes that part of the track.
Loves it.
Here's Kevin Bartlett in the Pantera.
Burke is close.
Well, the Ryan Hilton Toyota 2GO entry looking very good here at the moment in 2nd place. And can Berkey wind up the turbo and get this fascinating beast of Kevin Bartlett's? I think he has. Across the top, on the inside, the new leader, car 77, John Burke. So is Bartlett in trouble? Fitzgerald in 3rd, still knocking on the door. And talking of that, KB did just that in the first heat this morning, because you'll notice on the left-hand door of John Burke's car, a nice old graze, where KB did just that and ran the wheel down the side for a while.
There's hardly anywhere on this circuit, though, for Bartlett to drive that car in a straight line.
Well, he's got about 500 odd brake horsepower. Every time he puts his foot on the pedal, it wants to turn round. And
his only real shot is going to be the Bitchapave Hill the next time.
You've got to admire, though, what John Burke's done with this Celica and how successfully he's campaigned this car for, well, how many seasons now? 4 or 5?
4 or 5. They come through Wonderlick Corner, and Burke with a puff of smoke. The hand goes up. Goodbye to Burke. Fitzgerald now goes back into the lead. Kevin Bartlett in 2nd. Mike Griffin is up to 3rd now, sitting in behind the Pantera, as Fitzgerald takes the lead. Hard to know whether Bartlett's showboating or not. Just having a little exploratory move there on Fitzgerald, who's got the Porsche sideways. And Griffin coming right in behind Bartlett.
Well, the others are all bunching up there as well. We've got a glimpse of Bob Tyndall, Peter McLeod and Garry Scott in that 2nd group of cars. So this is going to become a very good 6-way battle, with Fitzgerald the leader at the moment from Bartlett, Griffin, Tyndall. Griffin comes out on the inside for a run through the right-hander onto the straight. Now, KB certainly not circulating the way that one would expect, and there's no danger of a lap record being knocked over here at the moment.
He's either got a problem. Bisbee's certainly busy taking the car through the corner there, moving off down towards Mazda. Fitzgerald just there. Bartlett in 2nd, then Mike Griffin, the Nippon 41 entry.
Griffin's car, as I've mentioned a couple of times before here in Amaroo, was the first ever Mazda RX-7 imported into Australia, and since then has been run as a Group E car, a Group C car, and now becomes a sports sedan.
Here's Bartlett. Bartlett on the outside of Peter Fitzgerald. Didn't go ahead with it. Fitzgerald gets a little skatey coming out of the corner. Tyndall's moved up behind Griffin. McLeod's there, and so too is Garry Scott in the Nissan Turbo. Once again, back across the line at Amaroo and up the hill. This is where the Pantera should be just hauling the Porsche in. It is at this stage. It's at the wrong end of the hill, the top end.
Yes, doesn't quite get him before he runs out a straight road. And once they get onto this long loop at the back, the Porsche comes into its element.
Give him some space, though, and let him clear the road, and I think we'll find that KB can disappear.
He disappeared in the first 3 laps. They managed to pick him up. It wouldn't be the most comfortable of racetracks to be sitting in amongst traffic. Amaroo Park.
Mike Griffin said to me before, after the first heat, all he could hear was KB somewhere around the car, but he couldn't see him out of any of the screens. So it was just lurking, and he was sort of driving with braille.
Well, he could drive past you and you wouldn't see him. The car's that low to the ground.
Correct.
In fact, KB said, Mike, I can't see you in the rear vision mirror, and Griffin said, well, I can't see you out the front, so it doesn't matter.
They come up Bitchapave Hill again. Fitzgerald now. KB maybe might be leaving this to the last couple of laps. And Fitzgerald will lead, but he leaves a gap there.
Oh, yes, a very big gap.
But it's too twitchy, the Pantera. No, it's not. He gets the nose in front again, takes over the lead going down to Mazda corner. Now, that should really get Mike Griffin on the boil.
Well, Peter knows that the 9 points for, or should I say the 6 points for 2nd place in this race will comfortably give him the championship, so one doesn't have to be silly. But look at this battle here now between Fitzgerald and Griffin. Mike Griffin, who has been the centre of some controversy in the sports sedan ranks in the last couple of meetings, has really come good today and has got the car mobile a lot quicker than he has had in the past.
Yeah, well, he's had a lot to say about the hybrid cars, notably Mark Trenouth and that big Jag that he brings down from Queensland. Well, that car's not here today.
He put that away, and then all of a sudden Bartlett arrived with the Pantera.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's got no bitch against Fitzgerald. It's head-to-head between the two of them here.
Towards Mazda corner again. Griffin getting closer to Fitzgerald, and now Bartlett starting to pull away again from the Porsche. But Bartlett's coming up behind a group of slower cars. Might impede his progress. Fitzgerald with Griffin in the 41 running down towards the lake as Bartlett gives the slip to some of the slower machinery. Heading down to the right-hander. Here's Fitzgerald with Griffin sticking to his tail. Tyndall, I think, is the next one back behind them.
1 lap to go. Bartlett leads Fitzgerald and Griffin, but Fitzgerald is going to win the series. KB is going to win the race.
Kevin Bartlett, the NatWest Finance Pantera, coming down to Mazda corner. They're just trying to steer away from some of the slower cars, stay out of harm's way. As he comes out of Honda corner, runs down towards the lake corner now. The scrap still continuing between Fitzgerald and Griffin, about 100 metres back behind him. In fact, they've gained appreciably. The small straight now that brings them up to Wonderlic corner, and here comes KB. Good to see the checkered flag for Kevin Bartlett, the NatWest Finance Pantera. He takes the Sports Sedan final here this afternoon from Peter Fitzgerald, and Mike Griffin will finish third. Very interesting race, full of incidents and full of interest from start to finish. Let's recap the placings for you. The win going to KB in the Di Tommaso, second spot to Peter Fitzgerald in the Porsche, and third place going to Mike Griffin in the Mazda.
In Goodyear's Formula Laser Series, 6 laps means more wear and stress for a tyre than 6 months of normal driving. It's not surprising then that the tyre they use is exclusively the Goodyear Grand Rally S, a tyre which offers an uncompromising combination of mileage and grip. What may surprise you is finding the same Grand Rally S tyre on many family cars. Goodyear, leading the world in tyre technology.
Paul Fletcher is here from Comalco Wonderlic to make the presentation to Kevin Bartlett, winner of today's round of the Sports Sedan Series here at Amaroo Park in a very, very slick-looking Di Tommaso Pantera. And I don't know about anybody else, but if it were mine, KB, I'd be afraid to take it on the racetrack.
Yeah, it should stay in the toy shop, shouldn't it?
Oh, it looks too nice.
Yeah, good car.
You led early, but they got past you.
Yeah, I must have had a lapse of concentration or something.
Oh, I find that hard to believe.
Well, it might have been that. I just wanted to see how Peter was driving. He's driving with us in the Mitsubishi team, you see.
You just wanted to come to the
I
big
just thought
finish.
I'd have a look at the back of me. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But the man that wins the series here at Amaroo Park for this season is Peter Fitzgerald. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hard work?
Very much. Pantera is very quick, and it was all I could do to try and keep Kevin behind me, and I made a mistake in the loop, and that let him past, and then it was all I could do to keep Mike behind me.
Yeah, Mike Griffin's pressed you very hard. In fact, I think he's finished equal third in the series overall, but he's really come good towards this latter stages of the series, hasn't he?
I'd like to say this, it's one of the cleanest races I've ever been in. There's plenty of opportunities for Kevin and Mike to give me a nudge, and they didn't do it, and I'd like to say I'd drive with those guys any day. I'd like to thank Comalco Wonderlic for putting the series on. The sponsors, Stanlight Electronics, Bob Hiscock and the boys from Advent Automotive, and of course Yokohama. Thank you very much.
Okay, congratulations to Peter Fitzgerald, winner of today's round, winner of the series, in fact, of the Comalco Wonderlic Sports Sedans here at Amaroo Park for 1985. Tons more to come too at Amaroo Park this afternoon. We're going to take a break. Back shortly.